This episode is brought to you by Precision Fuel and Hydration, a proud supporter of the Inside Running podcast. It keeps us fueled on our long runs and races. Are you training for your next big race and still guessing your nutrition? Inside Running Podcast listeners, 2026, this is the year you stop winging it. Precision Fuel and Hydration is the answer. Their free online planner helps you nail your sodium and carb intake so you don't fade when it matters most. Visit precisionhydration.com, and while you're there, place your first order and get 15% off when you use the code IRP2026.
Being a skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways.
Welcome to episode 442 of the Inside Running podcast. Brady won't be joining us this week as he's just hours away from running the Boston Marathon, but we are joined by a superstar of Australian track and field, and I'm not referring to Julian Spence, but he is here with me. Welcome, Moose. How you going?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm pumped.
As pumped as Brady?
I doubt it. I've been waiting for this one since he brought it up. Said, hey, I've got an idea about getting a guest on this week. And then Brady said, oh, what, without me there? Like, it'll work better without you here.
Yeah, I think based on the messages, Brady's been having a very good time while he's away. All the names that he's been dropping.
Oh.
Ran with Andy Badley, met, is it Ray Flynn? Like, just... Wow. Name after name after name.
The Mud Flat. That's the name that we got in a message group we got going. Luke Matthews brought up, called our mate Jordan Donnelly the Mud Flat because he likes to stay real close to the big wheels.
All right. Shall we introduce this week's guest, Moose?
Yes, please do it.
What I'm finding is it's really hard to introduce his guest because his list of accomplishments are constantly growing. And trying to work out which ones to include is really hard. So which of his achievements would you use to introduce him?
Whoa, you mean the biggest one? The biggest one?
Yeah, or just like, well, yeah, obviously you can't list everything. So which ones are you going with? And maybe we'll just go one for one.
All right. World under 20 record holder in the mile.
Ooh. That's pretty good. Only Aussie to have run under 3:30 for the 1,500 metres on multiple occasions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about only the second guy to solo a 2:29?
That's pretty good. Australian record holder in the 3,000 metres.
Yeah, it's all pretty good. We had a few good 3,000 metre guys. Indoor mile record holder.
Can you do that one? Oh, for Australia.
For Australia, yeah.
Yep. Under 20, World Junior silver medalist.
Mm-hmm. Junior medal's not quite as good as the last few results.
No.
World champs rep.
Yep. Soon to be Com Games rep.
Sub 7:33K guy.
Yep. Also, he's a guy that won a case of kombucha off you.
Oh, yeah. Touchy won that.
Anyway, I think most of our listeners know who it is now. Welcome back to the Inside Running podcast, Cam Myers. How are you, Cam?
Good. Thanks for having me on again.
So out of all of those achievements, which one are you most proud of?
I don't think you listed it. Back-to-back Oz champ. I'll take that.
Oh.
Actually, that was on there too. I said, we had current national 1,500 we also had current, 1,500 and 5K champ. So going back-to-back in the 1,500 is the most.
Yeah, well, I don't think many guys have gone back-to-back in the last few years. I mean, Grego went back-to-back. I don't know who else went back-to-back. probably
Wow.
Mottram
Okay.
at some stage.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure.
Probably
Uh,
Herb Elliott.
Yeah, yeah. If you go back to like way back, there's probably a bunch of guys that have gone back to back.
yeah.
But
Like Simon Doyle, he was pretty
yeah,
dominant there for a
I
while.
think he went back to back. Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations on start of 2026. It's like phenomenal. Every time you race, we're just like left speechless because we think, oh, Cam can't do any better than what he's just done. And then you come out and blow us away every single time, which brings me to the national 1500 meter champs. Like, can you talk us through your mindset? Basically, break down the race in terms of what you're thinking, because this isn't like an ACT inner club where you can just run away from everyone, even though you did at nationals. But you've got guys like Ollie Hoare, current Com Games gold medalist, Adam Spencer, world indoor medalist, Jude Thomas, like what 331 1500 meter runner, and we saw it back in like 2021 that Stewie was basically going to do the same thing. Jai sat on him, outkicked him. Like it was a bit of an upset. So there's always the risk that somebody could hang with you and potentially outkick you. So can you talk us through the mindset of from when the gun goes, every lap, what you're thinking, especially when like Ollie's still there with you?
Yeah, I mean, before the race, I didn't really put much pressure on myself at all because I sort of had a pretty, I would say, pretty interrupted build from my standards because I had this hamstring problem since I got back from America, effectively, where I strained it, and it's just sort of taken quite a while to get back to where I wanted it to be. And so since I've come back from the US, I've probably had like two separate weeks where I've had to just like have, I guess, a full week really of jogging. So from that standpoint, I've been a little bit like, okay, I'm not exactly sure how things are going to go. Heading into like Maury Plant and nationals, and so I guess running as fast as I did at Maury Plant, it gave me a pretty good indication that like I'm in a pretty good position fitness wise. So I mean, yeah, why not just have a crack when I get to nationals? So I think when I got to nationals, it was like I'd sort of decided maybe the week of that I was just gonna have a crack at running 329 off front, see how I go. If I blow off, I blow off, and well, yeah, live with the consequences of that. So I was pretty. I'd say I wasn't gonna be very rattled. Like if things didn't go my way, I was just gonna have a crack, see what happens, and the consequences would be the consequences. But yeah, I felt like I was in a good position just to really test myself. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. So
And
yeah.
during the race itself, like you never, like you felt good the whole time. Like, was there any time where you're like, oh, I'm running fast here and Ollie's still there?
Well, I mean, I thought it could either go two ways. It would either go the way that like people don't commit to it because maybe I have too much adrenaline. I run a 55 low first lap just because I'm antsing to get going sort of thing. And then in that case, maybe people don't commit to the pace and I have a bit of a gap. Or I thought that, people would be queuing up and it could even get to the point where I'm a lap to go and there's four guys behind me. And so I was pretty relaxed in the sense that 600 to go, I thought that there would be people with me and I'd just have to sort of like stick to the plan and just try and move away within the last sort of 500 meters, which, yeah, I was able to do.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the indications of fitness, like you found out at Maury Plant how fit you were, but it doesn't seem like in training you get to really sort of gauge where you're at as much as some other groups kind of do.
Yeah,
Like they go a bit
100%.
hard, a bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to know exactly where you are. Like, obviously, I do things on the track like 400s and stuff, and I have like a relative gauge of where I'm at. Um, I feel like I have a good gauge, even like I can do a session of 12 400s, and it's just like the feeling of running a certain speed and then just like my ability to recover within reps. So say if I'm doing a set of 400s and I'm running 60s, sometimes you get to the point where like I feel like I'm ready to go after 35 seconds, whereas like we don't even take 35 seconds, we might take a minute, but it's just that feeling that I'm recovering super quick between reps. The speed isn't an issue. Like I feel like I'm moving off the ground well. So yeah, I don't think I have that close of a gauge of like where my fitness is at, but I always describe it as just this feeling in your body that you just like feel strong, feel ready to go. And the race is almost like the occasion where you do get to test yourself, and I sort of look forward to that rather than like rinsing myself in workouts and getting to a race and almost being like a bit tired, run down or whatever. So yeah, it's always hard to know exactly where you are, but that's fine.
And you said after the race that you were a little bit disappointed that because you wanted to run faster. And was there a particular workout that you did in those couple of weeks leading up? Because I noticed on your Strava, must have been the week before, you did a session, but you hit all of the splits. And somebody's commented here, why is bro hiding the splits? And you've got, sometimes you hide your pocket aces. So
No, that
was
was
there,
funny.
that's very good. That was very good from you. That's quality.
Yeah, no, there was
But
actually not that interesting of a workout, unfortunately. But sometimes you got to keep people guessing. So
But
yeah.
was there anything where you like, you ran the splits and Dick went, "Whoa, that's like impressive. Like you're ready
Mm,
to go."
I think before Maury Plant, there was one where I did like it was 4 by 500 meters, and it was like this is at this point I still had sort of like a pace cap where like I wasn't supposed to run any quicker than like 1500 pace, and I think we did like 4 by 500 off like maybe a minute 45, and they were like 73, 72s, which isn't crazy. That's like I guess what 336 pace or something, and it was like that felt pretty smooth. I was going through the 400 and like 57, 58, feeling pretty good, and then I did 6 by 400 in like 55 off a minute after, and that felt really good, and I didn't feel like I was straining too hard to run any times or anything, and they're just coming out pretty nicely. So that was like probably the only session that I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a crack in Melbourne, see where I'm at. And then between Melbourne and nationals, it was really like I did nothing because you're not going to get much fitter. It was just about staying fresh, staying healthy, making sure my hamstring was continuing to recover as well. So yeah, not really any workouts, unfortunately, but yeah, as I said, it's just that feeling that you get.
Any questions, Moose?
The training group you're with, obviously, no one in the country is going to be on your level at the moment. So, how do you find help from your group, or are you solo a lot of the time now?
I think it goes into the motto of not sort of testing yourself too much in training. And I think that works pretty well because like I can have a day where I feel amazing and I can decide to give it a bit more in a certain session. And obviously in that situation I might be off the front or doing a fair bit of the work myself. But um on a week to week basis, I'm doing the sessions with the other guys, Connor, Jai, whoever it may be. But yeah, I think it's the discrepancies that you'd notice probably between sort of someone at my level and someone at Connor's is just probably the recovery between reps. It's like we're probably not so much too dissimilar in the actual rep times, but we're able to repeat it again and again. And it's just like the ability to do a session, recover the next day, and then do another pretty decent session 2 days later. I think that's the difference because I'm not going to the well every week, which kind of helps.
That's it's a it's kind of different to some other groups that have like the front guy. Everyone runs to the front guy, and that
Yeah.
session is based around the top guy in the group. And if you can hang on, great. Whereas how you're describing your training sounds a bit like how Mona used to do it in Ballarat. Like he would be the front guy, but he would drop back and run with the group who were state level runners, and
Yeah.
it sounds very similar to that.
Yeah, I think it is quite similar. Like, yeah, most workouts I'm running with people, and I think most of the sessions are sort of like targeted towards me, and they're like I guess tailored a little bit towards me. And I think most other people know that. So, if I'm doing a 500-meter rep, some of the guys might do a 400-meter rep, but for the majority of the time, they're doing the same session. And they might be a little bit slower, or I might be the same with. But it's just, yeah. I think more often than not, I have people to run with, and that's the main thing, right?
Yeah. So after you won your back-to-back 1500-meter title, the next night you lined up for the 5K, coming in with a PB of 1330 odd, low
Yeah,
1330s
13:32.
maybe.
Yeah.
What were your expectations of that 5K, and how did it play out for you?
Again, no expectations going into it. I was like, I was just excited to compete. I think that's the thing about the 5K. I'm really like excited to race it because it seems less so for me about there's no pressure at all really. It's just like go out there, have fun, and just test yourself. It's a bit like cross country in that sense. And I knew that they would either go one of two ways. The guys would probably try and run the sting out of my legs just because I'd run 2 races before, or they sit back, and that also suits me. So I was pretty happy with either situation. I was like, I thought I was in like about 13:05 shape, something around there. So I was pretty happy that I was pretty confident that if the guys were to run off the front, it'd be hard to run like 13:05 because it means that they're probably sacrificing their own race. So um, I was just keen to get stuck in, and it turned out like 63, 64s, I guess, for most of the way, which felt pretty comfortable. And I actually think it felt considerably easier than when I ran that 5K in Bankstown. So it's probably like a good thing that I did the 5K in Bankstown because I had this expectation that the 5K was going to be super, super hard, and it didn't turn out as hard as I thought it was going to be. So yeah, that was nice.
You've said that twice. It's sort of the thing that stood out for me with your running career so far is I remember, I don't know if you said it publicly or when we were out running after Albie Thomas, but you're like, man, 5Ks are so hard and hats off to people that like race them. And then you basically said the same thing after Nationals, even though you won and ran 13:11. What is it for you that makes the 5K so difficult compared to the 1500?
Well, I think the two components of what one is like obviously mentally you've got to stay focused for a little bit longer than a 1500, whereas like I can get away with a 1500 just sort of running hard and it's over in 3.5 minutes, whereas like a 5K you're going to go through phases initially where you're not feeling so good. Like I always find that the first 1 or 2 Ks it takes me a little bit to get going and feel like I'm settling and warming up into it a little bit, I suppose. And I think that that's maybe slightly differs from other people, but so I've sort of like got to get over that initial barrier of just like not feeling so good and more just like sticking to the pace and just like, okay, I'm gonna just gonna run hard and I'm just gonna trust that my body's gonna be good by the time that the race gets going. And that more often than not that's the way it goes. But yeah, so I find that aspect pretty hard. And the other thing is also I find that it just beats the legs up a lot. So like I actually get to 10.5 laps in and my legs are actually kind of a little bit sore, which is something that you don't get from the 1500. And also like I'm not doing the same sort of like I'm not doing huge amounts of session volume in spikes, I guess. So like that just it's just a different aspect, right? So yeah, something to think about.
Do we see you doing more 5K races internationally this year or not?
I think like it's hard to say now. I think maybe like I do want to run one, but I think it would have to wait until after Com Games because there's not really any point, I suppose, with Com Games, the 15 or the mile final and the 5K final on the same night. So there's no possibility that you're doubling realistically. So there's no point running one before because I think it just takes like a week or two out of your legs where you have to have sort of an easy period going in and an easy period after. And so I might do one after Com Games, but then again, it's like if you want to run these fast 1500s, you may as well just focus on running the fast 1500s. So yeah, it is difficult to find a time to do one, but I think next year I'd love to target one specifically where it's like perhaps not like a Diamond League 5K because those ones that you now run 12:45, and it's like if I think that I can run 12:55 13 minutes, I probably need to find like a 13:05 race where I can close hard. So yeah, that'll be like a low key meet in Europe somewhere.
Yeah,
you got 2 up on Seth now. Well, probably more than 2, but that 2 close ones. That cross country race, was it the qualifiers or was it national? No, qualifiers. World Cross Trials and the 5K on the weekend or last weekend. Is he someone that you think is he the biggest threat for you if you are in the longer distances at the moment in Oz?
Kai probably.
Yeah, Kai, like actually Dick was not like concerned about the 5K at all, and that he just like didn't care that I was running. I don't even think he really wanted me to run the 5K, to be honest. And so he didn't look at the start list or anything. And so we're standing at the warm-up track and he goes, "Where's Kai?" And I'm like, "Kai's not running, Dick." And he just couldn't believe me. And so Kai's obviously the standout. I think he's far better than anyone else at the moment in Australia. I think he showed that at the 10K. and obviously last year at World Champs. But yeah, behind that, I'd say, yeah, Seth and Morgan and Jack. And I think Jude, if Jude chose to run the 5K, he would be pretty strong as well. So yeah.
Would you change your training at all if you were focusing on the 5K? Because I noticed at the moment, like your long run is what, 20 kilometers basically. Do you think you'd have
Yeah,
to
if
up
that,
that a
like,
little bit or not?
yeah, well, I don't even really do long runs on like a week to week basis. Like maybe when I'm in base phase, yeah. But like the last 5 weeks, like I did my first one and it seems like forever on the weekend. And it's like, yeah, I just don't really do long runs at all, I think, when you're doing the hard training. But
Mm.
I don't even know if that would change. More so, I think maybe some like extended longer reps when I'm specifically preparing for 5K.
Mm.
So at the moment, like 5 to 6 by K is pretty standard. Like if we're targeting a pretty good one, even if it's a 3K or whatever. But maybe I'd go to 7 by K and just like every now and then target more so specifically 5K pace. Because at the moment I might run 2:38s, 2:40s off like 90 seconds to 2 minutes for 5 to 6 of them. But if I could run like 2:35, 2:36, which is I guess 30-minute pace off like same recovery for another rep, I think that would have me in a slightly better position for 5K.
Do you like doing the long runs? Is that a highlight for you?
I hate long runs. Long runs
Oh.
are my least favorite day of the week because it just like drags on. Yeah.
You're
I would
in the wrong
rather.
group, mate. There's no good banter. It mustn't be anyone fun to run with.
There's great banter, but I feel like I get to like an hour and my feet start hurting. I'm like, wow. No, it's not that bad.
You in the
But
pegs? You in the Nikes, mate?
I'm in pegs, structures. I just think I'm like so conditioned to running like an hour at the maximum that I get to like 70 minutes. I'm like, wow, this is like harder than it should be. But yeah, I think I'd rather run like two singular hour runs in a day than do like a 90-minute long run. Because I find that it just like the hour runs just they fly by. But like, yeah, those last 30 minutes of a long run, I'm like, holy, this sucks.
Should we take a step back and just talk about the start of this year? And I don't know whether publicly you've really spoken too much about why you pulled out of World Cross, because it was pretty amazing to go from, all right, you've won the World Cross trial over 10K, you're a shoe-in for the relay, and then you pull out, and then everyone's going, well, like, why's he pulled out? And then obviously there was talk about medical conditions, but then within like a couple of weeks, you're absolutely killing it over in the US, and everyone's like, "Well, what's going on? Like, surely there's nothing major because you're just beating the best in the world indoors." So, can you talk about that period a little bit?
Yeah, so I pretty much had like another episode where I passed out after the Bankstown race, and I was like, um, I needed to get a bit of testing done, and initially I had to like backdate my flight to the US. Like I did have a flight booked and everything for World Cross, and it just turned out like I couldn't get the tests done because of the Christmas period. Like people were away, like the specialists that I needed to see, etc. So it meant that like I could have probably made it but it's like if I, get them told that I can't race or can't go over like 2 days before, it really just puts the whole team under a bit of pressure. So I'm like, I may as well give them as much notice as I can and like allow someone like Jack, who's living in the US, very good runner, as much time as he needs to prepare for something like that. So yeah, it did suck not to be there, but like at the same time, you don't want to screw over a whole team. So yeah.
Pretty incredible move. I don't know if you saw, but like, imagine being 19, almost being guaranteed of a world championship medal, having to pull out. But then what I thought was really classy, Cam, was the day that they actually won the gold. You've like shared it on your Instagram. There'd be so many people that would be just so bitter that they're like, oh, miss that opportunity. But the fact that you gave up your spot early enough so Jack could prepare and then actually celebrate that win is just shows the type of guy you are.
I feel like it is a very team orientated like medal. I feel like it's something that the whole of Australia should like, celebrate because it is like I guess it shows like the strength that we have in middle distance running at the moment that like I almost feel like if we had to send a B team, we would probably have come second that day, like that's the sort of depth that we have at the moment. And I think that that's something to be celebrated. So yeah, it's good to see.
And all the testing, have they managed to find out why you keep passing out?
Yeah, I mean, I've found some stuff out now, which I probably don't want to share publicly too much, but yeah, we've come to the sort of like, yeah, we've found everything out, which is good to know, and I think hopefully shouldn't be happening again in the future, which is nice to know.
Yeah.
Weren't you one of
Oh,
the drivers for that team though? Like that cross team?
Was I one of the what?
Like the driving forces behind getting a good team together.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so, but they won regardless, and I think like both Ollie and Jack ran superbly well on the men's side, and of course Jess and Lyndon were also fabulous. So like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they
No, I
won.
mean,
oh,
what I meant was like Jess Harlan mentioned, I think even on this podcast, that you and her were chatting about making
Yeah, yeah,
sure that
yeah,
Australia had a great team,
yeah,
and then reached out to other people to sort of get them on board, and because it could
yeah. Like,
easily get washed over that
mm,
event.
well, me and Jess were pretty keen up in St. Moritz last year, like to make sure that we got a good team going. So it was definitely something that I'd like had in the back of my mind for a while. And obviously, yeah, disappointing that I didn't get to run, but it's still good to see that like Australia's winning them. Like, I mean, even in Bathurst, it was good to see that they came third, in Australia. But now to level up again, it's good to see.
and then you come out and you break the Aussie indoor, you break the Aussie 3,000 meter record going well under 7:30. Was that on the cards? Like, did you know that was there?
It's difficult. The 3K is like one of those difficult distances where you just don't know where you're going to be at because like I know that well they were talking about going through the mile in like 4 minutes or 3:59. And it's like when you haven't even at that stage I hadn't even run the race in Seattle, so like I don't even know how my mile shape is, and let alone like how I'm going to go over 3K. So it's hard to sort of specifically prepare for something like that because it's like you're just running 59 60s the whole way. Which I thought like my best case scenario was running pretty much the splits that I did. I think like I couldn't have really executed much better than what I did. I think that was like 100% a true representation of where I was at. I didn't think I left anything else out there, which is nice to say after a race. But yeah, it's just hard to sort of prepare for a 3K. So I didn't know exactly the shape I was in. I did one 1200-meter rep, which is like not even that far in the grand scheme of things. And it was like it was on a windy day at the track at the AIS, and it was just like 3K feel, and I think I was around 258. So I like knew that I'd be close enough to where I need to be.
Yeah, yeah. And then want to make a mile, like you must sort of even now, like is that one of the biggest races that you've won in terms of just the prestige of it all?
Yeah, I think it goes in the category of those really prestigious mile races that we have in the world. The Bowerman Mile,
Mm.
that the Bislett Dream Mile. There's not that many of them going around, but yeah, that's probably one of the biggest ones. So it was nice to get the win over there, especially like just being able to compete with a pretty solid field like Yared, Hobbs, and whoever. And also because Hobbs had come off that 2K world record, I think it was nice to face each
Mm.
other. I think so. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on having? Because it's what I would love. Because the want to make a mile is obviously so prestigious that like that is obviously the main event for the meet. But then the 2 mile now is really popular at that meet because I guess you got a lot of guys coming off base phase and they
Yeah.
want to test themselves. But it definitely like dilutes the fields a little bit. Like imagine
Yeah.
if Hocker and Josh Kerr were in that mile race as well. Like surely you'd like to race against those guys.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Like last year, well, so 2025, it was slightly better, I'd say, because Yared, Josh was in it, but he got sick, so he had to pull out the day before the race. But like Habs was in the race, who went on to run 3:27. So I think it was like a little bit stronger. And even in previous years, going back to the year that I think Ollie won it and Josh was second, it's been very strong. But like having that second distance event, it definitely waters down the field a little bit. And like it's disappointing because like I almost was like I wanted to run the 2 mile sort of because those are the best guys in the world and you want to really compete with them. So yeah, it's annoying and like a little bit frustrating, but yeah, it just makes a lot more sense, I guess, given the timelines of what people are at, where they're at with their training and stuff. So yeah,
Who is the most intimidating guy on the start line of those big mile events?
I'd say I'm not that easily intimidated, but I think Josh Kerr because he wears those glasses. I'm like, you can't see the guy's eyes, so he
Yeah,
is hot.
I was thinking him too.
Yeah, like he's also like a pretty big fella. Like,
Mm.
you know, he's not small, so he's got the glasses. You can't see his eyes. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's a nice guy. So I think that's the thing. Like most of the guys who are racing with are relatively chatty, nice people. So yeah.
That beef he's got going on with Jakob, is that a bit for show, a bit for like fans just to
I don't
cheer
know.
on, or is that legit?
It's hard to know. But you know, it did make Paris, like watching it, I think it made it so much more interesting, having that storyline going into it. And so, like, whether or not they'd sort of talked about it before and they'd, like, maybe both agreed to say some things that they might not say otherwise, I don't know. But it did make it so much more interesting. And the funny thing was, like, Paris, I feel like Josh Kerr ran an absolutely perfect race. He couldn't have done anything better, and he was just beaten. So, like, yeah, it's just hard to do much about that.
And with your competitors, like for example, last weekend at the Aussie Champs, where you gun to tape a 3:29 and then back up the next day and run a 13:11, are any of these guys like messaging you after that weekend saying, "Mate, well done," or they're like they don't want to give you, they don't want to congratulate you because it's sort of like, "Oh, you're my competitor." Has anyone reached out?
Yeah. So like, I would say that I'm pretty good mates with like Ollie, Jude, Spencer, and all those sort of guys. So yeah, they're all super nice, and I think they're like it's the same thing. If they ran like the Oz record tomorrow, you know, I'd reach out and say congratulations because it's like it's obviously a great achievement, and
What
I
about?
think
Oh,
you're
sorry.
competing
What about?
against each other, but you're also supportive. You know.
Yeah. What about the international guys? What about like a Josh Kerr or a Cole Hocker? Are those guys messaging you after seeing you 3:21
I
in
don't hear from
solo?
those guys. I'm maybe not on that level yet. I think I got to like start a bit, yeah, being a little bit more competitive before they
Yeah.
What
start.
about? I reckon some beef. I reckon we could. That's
I
how
don't
we
think
get
I'm
it
like
going.
confrontational enough to have beef.
Well,
No, we'll do it for you.
well, we were chatting last week about how Josh Kerr's come out and it's like the what is it 2:22 project or whatever to break the mile world record, and the Bauman mile is on before that
Yeah,
meet. You're a
yeah.
Nike athlete. Has there been any talk about all the Nike athletes getting together and going, you know what, we'll just break the record before that event?
I think on the balance of probability, the Bauman mile will be pretty quick this year, and I think it just like puts a little bit more pressure on Josh because like, say he has a slightly bad day and he runs 3:44, you know, that might not even be the fastest time in the world this year. And yeah, so will be interesting. And I think like I'm at the moment I'm not doing London, which is something that we decided a little bit ago. And I think having that like what 10 days out from Com Games, having a world record attempt probably wouldn't be in my best interest of preparation. But if I'm going back and doing it like 3 weeks before, I think that's a different story. So yeah, I think the way that the mile at Eugene sits, I think it'll be quick for sure. Yeah.
And we're also chatting like hypothetically, would you ever consider pacing a world record attempt for one of your competitors?
Yeah, so this is something that I've thought about a little bit more. Like, so I think a couple years ago when Jakob was really going for it, I probably would have. But now I feel like I'm getting to the point where like it's yeah, I think I could probably run a 3:27 within the next year, and that's something that I'm obviously aiming to do, maybe if not quicker. So like I don't really want to help, other people potentially run quicker than that. So, it's
Oh,
it's
it's
definitely evolved.
understandable, Cam. It's understandable. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's saying,
No.
"Oh, what a dog."
Yeah,
No.
but it was just like I thought maybe a year ago I probably would have even like after I'd run 3:29 in a Strava, I think, had I been asked then, I would have said yes probably. But yeah, I feel like now I'm just getting a little bit stronger and I feel like I'd rather just be in the race, right?
Yeah, 100%. And just another random question on Want to Make a Mile. And actually, Moose was the one that told me about this. He said you came into the shop one day and the Want to Make a Mile trophy is like in your living room here in Canberra because like that thing is huge. And
Yeah,
I
so
wasn't sure whether you actually get to like keep it for the year or what. Is
they
this
have
true?
a smaller one that they give you.
Oh,
So like it's a little
okay.
bit more travel friendly. But we do have a nice collection of trophies sort of coming together, which is nice.
Mainly
Yeah, nice.
yours.
mainly. But, Charlie Chandler, he hasn't lost a race since he's moved in. So, yeah, shout out Charlie.
There you go. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Surprised he hasn't told me that.
He will, I'm sure.
What do you got, Moose? Any more questions, or do we give him a break and we hear about your running for a bit? I'm sure I've got more questions here.
Yeah, let's go from talking about solo 329s to me. That's a bit rough on me. I jogged. I'm back running, so Croaks, I'm happy, and it's feeling pretty good as well. I've jogged just under 30k this week. Where did I start off? Let me just pull that up because I've been engrossed in talking to Cam. So I reckon it was the 13th. That's me. I ran down. Oh, I took Pia down for a ride. So I've been getting her on that train of running. I run, she rides, just because it actually gets her out of the house. Yeah. That's down in Anglesea. We were in the caravan park. Dropped her off at a park and just did a few laps of the park while she was on the swings. Just keep an eye on her. What's the rules on that? Leaving your 4-year-old at a park while you go off running?
Ooh, I wouldn't be. What sort of distance are you getting away from her?
Oh, I reckon I see her every 2 minutes.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know. What can happen in 2 minutes?
It's borderline moves. I reckon Zaka, we might have to put up a poll this week. Is it acceptable?
I'll come round, give her a wave, go off for another lap, and then I got home and Bree said, "You're not doing that again."
Yeah, I don't think Viv would approve either.
So that was Monday. Then I had Tuesday off. Wednesday, went out for a run again around Anglesea, drive down the bottom of the hill, run on the flat. This one was my first 40-minute run. I think it was my first. Listen to the UK Monthly. Geez, those boys, they can waft on, but they got some good gags on there. Like how the scientist, Dan Nash, he gets triggered by some good stuff.
Yeah.
And it was the people that talk about nose breathing, like the people that tape over their mouth, and they say that nose breathing improves their performance by whatever, and he just got real fired up. I loved that. I thought that was pretty good.
You can tell that they've known each other for quite a while, good friends.
It's good value. It's a good value, that show. It's pretty like some dry old sort of Welsh, what do you call it, Welsh humour?
Yeah, I guess so.
They seem funnier than English people anyway. Next day, just 25 minutes. I'm sort of going longer, shorter day off. So I had my day off. Then on the Saturday, I actually joined the group. I was supposed to get there at 7, but waking up with bloody 2 screaming babies and a 4-year-old next to you and barking dog, just didn't get out there. Just didn't get out in time. So I caught them at the end of their warm-up. They were doing a workout, kind of the last one before Ballarat. These are the marathoners out there. It was Ali, Cam, Pat, Kieran, Justin. Good group. Good to be back in the group, actually. They went off to do their workout, and I jogged with Cam counterclockwise. No, the opposite way than they were running. So I got to see their little workout to finish the block. It's always sort of nice to see the last workout of the block get done. It felt pretty. I mean, when I say it felt good, I ran pretty quick for me, like 4:42s for 10K nearly, 45 minutes. And the heart rate, it's up there. The heart rate is on there. Unfortunately, I thought I hit it. I dropped the
150s?
It got, yeah, so I'm jogging like 4:30s,
145. That's okay.
That's an average. That includes a couple of stops.
Man, I'll be pretty happy with 4:45. 1:45.
Yeah, but you get to like 2:10 though, don't you, when you race?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, and I'm jogging along, and I have given so much shit to these guys I run with so often that Cam was enjoying this little heart rate flex on me for the last few K of this run. He was sort of looking down at his watch, asking me what my heart rate was, and yeah, not a good ego flex for me, but give me a little boost to get back there. Next day, here's one for you. This is for you, Croaks. This is me going after. This is Pia coming for Lily here. This was parked at the Chocolate Factory, which is up at the very top of a hill, and then there's like a mountain bike park just on the other side of the Great Ocean Road. So we went for 6.7k with the bribe that we finish at the chocolate shop, and she gets to have whatever she wants. So that was super enjoyable. I probably only stopped maybe 3 times to like push her over jumps and hills and stuff. We're on the mountain bike tracks. So it was 36 minutes. And for the week, 27k.
Yeah, nice. And so what's the progression from here? Like another week of jogging? Like when would you incorporate your first small workout?
I don't even know about when I feel right. I definitely can't. I don't feel right at the moment. I'm not far off hitting workout sort of heart rates in these jogs at the moment. I'm going to jog tomorrow, jog Wednesday, Thursday, fly to London late, get in London midday Friday. I'll probably try to jog around like Hyde Park Friday Arvo, and I'm thinking about jogging most days while I'm over there, just because I want to see London a bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I might do something in London.
And like pain free though?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I finished the run and I get a little bit of stiffness in the knee, but I actually saw the sports doctor this week too. I sort of didn't mention that. Just as a follow up, I got a scan, a follow up scan on the Friday, just to see if there's anything that would warrant a consult with the surgeon, because it wasn't progressing as I wanted it to when I made that appointment. But it's started to improve a fair bit now. So I've got another appointment with him tomorrow to review that scan and, see what the go is there. But I'm confident I don't need to go anything like drastic like that or go down the surgery path the way it's going now.
Nice. Good to see you back running. Cam, do you have your week handy and what you did last week?
Yeah.
So this is coming off obviously the 1500 final on the Friday. Saturday was the 5K final. So what did you do 2 days after that?
Give me a second. I've got to pull up mine. I was on your Strava actually.
Oh, I can do my week first if you want, and then you can do yours.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
All right. So yeah, I raced on the Saturday. Sunday was my long run, sort of around the lake. Which, if you remember, Moose, I was saying how I didn't particularly enjoy it that much.
Yeah.
So Monday we were heading to the coast for like 4 days down to Browley, and because I was definitely tired from the weekend, just lack of sleep and things like that. And I was on the concrete on the Sunday long run. I'm like, okay, I want to put on a shoe that's enjoyable, and I'm going to run fairly flat in Mulligan. So I put on the Super Blast 3. So I did an hour at like 4:21s, and just by the end of it, my tip post was just a bit angry. And I think it was just a combination of probably like the fast hours for 10K on Saturday, being on the road and on some camber on the Sunday, and then obviously this shoe, which is a bit soft and maybe a bit unstable at times. The tip post just wasn't happy. Like, it wasn't terrible, but that was Monday. Tuesday, ran sort of in the bush, just out the back of Browley, like Mossy Point area, and I actually listened to the UK Monthly on this run, and I only took one pair of shoes down. It was the Adidas Hyperboost Edge, and I was just on a bit of a camber at times. And once again, tip post was just a bit, niggly, but it certainly wasn't deteriorating, and it was coming and going. But I got rolling on this one. So this was just over 16K at 4:14s. So at that point, I went, okay, I know in the past, if I have tip post issues, all I need to do is stay on a relatively flat surface. So I'm like, okay, well, next run on the Wednesday, I just ran basically up and down the boulevard in Bateman's Bay. So that was another just under hour at 4:16s, dead flat. And my tip post felt pretty good here. Actually, I had a Jayla Hancock Cameron flyby. She was doing some training on one of the ovals down there, because she lives down that way.
Another mention,
yeah. Yep. And
she's the record holder. She's got to be
racing Ballarat this weekend too. doing
there you
the
go.
mile.
I think
Yeah.
she's doing it just to keep the streak up of getting mentioned every episode.
Yeah. Then on Thursday, so I originally had planned to start sessions back on the Thursday, but I thought given my body hasn't been amazing this week and we're holidaying, I'm just like, let's just use this week as a bit of a transition week and then get stuck into it this week. So I did an hour on Thursday morning, and this was from Browley down past like Maruya Airport and back. It's such a nice, I don't know if you've ever run down there, Moose.
Never been there.
Have you ever run down there, Cam, Browley?
No.
Oh, it's really nice. Like you sort of run
Hilly,
through
isn't it?
this. Well, that section's not because you're pretty much right on the coast, but
Oh,
you can
okay.
find some
Yeah.
hills just out the back. But yeah, really enjoyable run. So that was 14K at 4:16s, and then
Your runs are getting faster again.
they are getting faster. But to be fair, like I'd raced on Saturday, I hadn't done any sessions at all. And then Friday we drove back and did a session on the treadmill that afternoon. And I told you off air, Moose, that I bought a lactate monitor a few weeks ago. And
Here we go.
I was umming and ahhing when I was going to use it for one session before Canberra on the treadmill, but I thought I'll wait till after Canberra. So anyway, I did 6 by 6 minutes on the treadmill, and I took lactates after rep 2, 4, and 6. It was like 1.9, 1.6, and 2.4. So I was actually pretty happy that I didn't get any like error readings, and I didn't get anything super high to indicate that there was sweat in there. In terms of the session itself, I did 6 by 6 minutes. I did 3 reps at 18K an hour, 2 reps at 18.3, and then 1 rep at 18.5. And what I found here is normally when I do my treadmill sessions, they're first thing in the morning. So I did the exact same session maybe 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, but in the morning. And my heart rate was exactly the same as it was in the afternoon, but perceived effort was so much lower in the afternoon. So like my heart rate, I think only got into the low 160s by the end of it, but it was such a comfortable session. So I think those lactates were pretty accurate given how I felt doing it. Cam, I know you do a little bit of lactate stuff.
Yeah, I'd be taking those values. They're pretty good.
Yeah. How do you find, like, if you're doing like 6 minute reps off a minute goes real quick when you're trying to feel around with a lactate monitor, don't you find?
I prepare everything, so then, and I reckon I can do it in like 30-ish seconds, but like obviously it takes another 15 to get the value.
Yeah.
So I have like enough time to like then have a drink or whatever before I start again. But
so do you have the strips already sort of in, because obviously the machine turns off after 5 minutes or whatever. Do you have them in there ready to go and you just have to like push
I
them
have
in?
like a little bench next to me that I'd use, and then like I just like don't re-prick the finger, so I do it once at the start, and then I just keep squeezing the blood out, and then just The hardest part is to take the strip out of the packet and then put it in. So that's actually the hardest part. But yeah, once you get that done, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, so that was a very comfortable session for me, and like I'll use it a bit more. Like I might use it for an odd session at the might maybe use it tomorrow at the track. I'm just trying to get some data points around like what my lactate is at certain heart rates.
Yeah,
But,
it'd be interesting like what you get up to during like a VO2 session at the track or something. Like, would you get up to like 10, or would you go like stagnate around 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that?
Yeah, and look, I probably need to actually do a test on myself here on the treadmill where I just ramp it up and basically go as hard as I can to see, and then obviously graph it like they do.
Yeah.
But initially, it's more like, hey, I might do that after my next race. But yeah, like it sort of just showed me that what I do on the treadmill is very controlled. Like it definitely felt good. So that
just
was
1 sec.
Yeah.
What's your highest lactate reading you've had, Cam?
I got up to 18 once in Perisher, but like the vast majority of times that I'm like doing a specific session, I would get it to like between 12 and 14, which is actually on the lower end of the spectrum for most 1500 meter runners, I'd say. But yeah.
And how often are you still using the lactate monitor?
Well, it's actually funny. I didn't use it this week, but I'd say most of the time, like, yeah, especially when I'm doing like actual LT2 stuff, like the LT1 stuff, I feel like I'm always erring on the conservative side of it anyways. So I think I'm probably not getting any higher than 2.5. but I do like to check every now and then, especially when I'm at altitude. I'd check it more. So like at altitude, I almost check most reps because I'm just like a little bit more cautious. But I feel like, yeah, when I'm in Canberra, I get almost a bit lazy with it. But especially now, like now I'm back to doing extended stuff where I'm like doing 10K around the lake. So like I don't really feel like I need to use it for that. So
Yeah, I often I read actually Marius's book that your threshold in the afternoon is often like 5 or 6 beats higher than it is in the morning, which would have made sense for me because the perceived effort was way lower in the afternoon, even though the heart rate was the same as a morning session. So I sort of feel like my heart rate's probably needs to be 5 beats higher in the afternoon for the same lactate. And this is why I'm just going to play around and test things just to get some data points around stuff. So
I hadn't heard that before.
yeah, it's in Marius's book that your threshold heart rate is higher in the afternoon than it is in the morning.
would that be even if you did something in the morning? Because I feel like my heart rate's always lower in the afternoon if I've done like a harder like a threshold session in the morning.
Yeah, okay. Well, for me, like the morning, let's say I'm running 160s in the morning,
Yeah.
like that actually for me feels like closer to threshold from a perceived effort point of view.
Okay.
Although my heart rate's
Yeah.
only 160, and I will do some morning like lactate tests, but then when I run 160 in the afternoon, like I did on Friday, I'm like, oh, this is easy.
How does it change when you go from the treadmill to then going outside? Do you like what's your heart rate difference?
My heart rate's definitely higher when I'm outside.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing all my sort of controlled sessions on the treadmill at like I barely hit 160, whereas I'm probably getting into the high 160s doing K reps on the track.
Yeah.
So,
Just on this then, Craig. So you're saying that if you go and do a half marathon in the afternoon, you'll be doing it and you're trying to your threshold is around your half marathon pace. So you're saying that you'll be running that pace 5 beats a minute
higher. It would
higher.
Be higher. Well, that's what's in his book. Yeah.
But so is it because something has to change here? Because no one's running like 5 beats a minute converts to a lot of pace. And so no one's like going out running half marathons that much differently in an afternoon to a morning.
Does it change also for someone like Marius who's probably got a higher max? Like, I don't know what his heart rate at threshold would have been, but let's say he was at like 182 or something like that. Then the 5 beats becomes a little bit less, I guess, if you're at
well, maybe it's not that like your threshold's 5 beats a minute higher. Maybe it's like your heart rate can get higher in the afternoon. And so it's just the percentage is the same, but.
Well, what I'll do, Moose, I'll do an experiment where I'll run the exact same session that I did on Friday. I'll do it in the morning and I will keep the heart rates pretty much identical and I'll see what the lactates show.
I know you don't like waking up in the morning though.
No, I'm talking about 9 o'clock. I'm talking about 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock's the afternoon for most people.
Yes. So that was Friday. Saturday, I did a double. So I did hour in the morning at 4:21s, listened to the IRP top 30 countdown. So that was from 20 down to 11.
Yeah, what do you think?
Better than the 20 to 30.
Do you reckon Brady's just added some songs that he likes in there?
I don't know, but I knew more of the songs and enjoyed that more, I think.
Yeah.
The top 10 will be good.
It was a bit older, wasn't it, this last one?
Yeah. I'll be very disappointed if Eminem's not in the top 10.
Well, while we got Cam here, you listen to music, Cam, when you run?
Yeah. My playlist is very they change a lot. Before I race, I listen to the most niche music. I listen to UK drill, which I would never listen to if I wasn't like before a race.
So what?
But on a UK drill, like you probably haven't even heard of that. Hey, yeah.
Is that a band?
No, it's a type of music that you wouldn't enjoy it. I could probably tell you that now. I probably would enjoy it if I wasn't about to race.
Maybe that's the secret, Moose. Maybe we need to get onto this.
Feels like I'm about to go to war. Like that's what it feels like I'm getting ready for. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm going to listen to this tomorrow.
Yeah, but on a day-to-day, I'd probably listen to like Spacey Jane or something. I'm pretty generic, but yeah.
Okay.
So then, afternoon got out for 8K, 422s. And then Sunday morning, I was running with Rob and Jack, and we just entered Mulligan's, and there was this massive pack. It was Philo Saunders' crew. So there was Philo and Jimmy Barker was out there with them, Jared Clifford, and then a couple of Telford
Yeah, I
boys.
missed that one.
Connor and Aaron Parker were there. And we got rolling like pretty early. I don't know if you've ever run with Philo before, but he's an excitable old man.
I had a few long runs with him at Flagstaff last year where he was like wearing super shoes and legit would go like toe to toe with me. It was like we're racing on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ran a lot faster than like we have been. So I ran 2 hours 10, 31.5K at 4:08s. So it was a week of 100 and just over 130K. This week I plan on trying to go to 3 of these threshold sessions a week.
Wow.
Ooh,
Wait,
what?
so how are you going to do it? Are you going Tuesday,
Tuesday,
Thursday?
Thursday, Saturday. Yeah. So I'll
Yeah,
do K reps tomorrow at the track.
Do you do them at threshold on the Tuesday?
I'll do them pretty controlled. Like for me, it'll probably be 3:15s.
So what do you do? So if you're doing like 6 minute reps and then like let's say 3 minute reps, what's the other one? Are they like 10 minute reps?
Yeah, so I'm going to do Ks on Tuesday. I'll do 10-minute reps on Thursday. And then depending on how I feel, I'll either do 6-minute reps, 400s off short recovery. So obviously, if I'm feeling the effects of Tuesday, Thursday, I'll go for a more conservative session. Because the reason I want to try and do this is I feel like a bit of quality sometimes is missing. And I feel like if I can have one shorter, faster session a week, then I don't mind doing that, say, on a Saturday when I've already got 2 controlled threshold sessions in. Whereas when I try and add quality in, my mistake in the past is I do a high volume quality session and it's just too much. Whereas if
How
I've
do you think
done,
that that's going to affect, say, going into a long run on a Sunday?
well, that's thin. My long run now is going to be like I don't really have I don't want to hit. I won't hit 2 hours 10.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll slow it down. The other thing that'll change for me is the midweek long run. I've been doing 90 minutes midweek, whereas now I'll do either 2 10K runs or an hour on a Wednesday.
This sounds very similar to like the whole Norwegian singles.
Yeah, well, I've had aspects over the last few years where I've followed it sort of like in terms of
Yeah.
I've followed their sessions, but I've only done 2 sessions a week. But I've kept a midweek long run in and I've kept a long run in, and I've got some pretty good results out of it because I've stayed consistent and I've never felt like I've been cooking myself in sessions.
Yeah.
It's when I then go from doing these sessions to wanting to race, and then I start to run really fast 400s or really fast 800s that I haven't done, that I then get into trouble.
Yeah.
Whereas now, if I'm doing these 2 controlled sessions a week, or sometimes 3 controlled sessions a week, and maybe every second Saturday, I go to the track and I do 10 400s, off 75, 90 seconds recovery. It's not a huge volume session, and it's just sort of bridging that gap.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
don't know, just going to play around with it.
Yeah.
All right, take us to a pros week.
Oh, it doesn't sound so impressive, I think. I was still in Sydney on the Monday, and I had the morning off. I just went to the beach. Then in the afternoon, I ran like 8K, 4:17s, 35 minutes. Tuesday morning, again, I was taking another easy day, so just ran like 7.5K in the morning. Drove back to Canberra, 8K in the afternoon. The boys were at the track and did their session, but I was still sandbagging, a bit sore from the 5K. So, yeah. Wednesday was pretty much back to like a normal week. So I ran like 12 and a bit K in the morning, 4:30s around Mount Ainslie, which is always nice. Afternoon, I ran 8.5K, 4:20s. Pretty chill. Thursday morning was my first session I did. It was just like 10K straight at 3:15s, which I actually haven't done too many straight threshold efforts in a while. But I guess this period now, before some of those early Diamond Leagues, it's pretty much like back to proper base, or as close to base as I can get without like losing quality, I suppose. So
So what sort
yeah,
of average heart rate are you doing this at?
I'll get it up actually. I think it was like 170, which is actually pretty low for me. But if I had to guess my lactate, I would probably guess 2.5 to 2.8, because 10K is a long time to like keep running
Yeah.
and keep like shuttling, I guess. So
Because what's
yeah,
that? About 30. So what's your max heart rate? Like is it 210 or a bit under?
it's actually higher. It's like
Oh, wow.
215.
Oh,
And so well, the thing is, I actually haven't done a max one in a while. However, I did like when I did a threshold test, I did like 2 stages. So 2 stages, yeah, above threshold, and I got to like 205. So I'd guess if I kept going, and that was like I only got up to like 245 pace, which I guess is still like 6 seconds a k off 5K pace.
yeah.
And I was pretty high, so I'd imagine it would be pretty high. Yeah. Anyways, the afternoon I just did 4x2K. I did that at the track actually, which is pretty boring, I must say. But yeah, 20 laps, and they were like 6:15 to 6:09. So yeah,
So
and I
same
was actually
day.
like, yeah, and then I was like the same heart rate. I was there's the morning actually, maybe a bit higher, like 178 ish average, which is not bad for me. Friday was again 10K, just around Mount Ainsley. So yeah. Saturday was back to Stromlo, which I haven't been to Stromlo in so long, and that was 2K, 5x K, and then 5x30-second hills. So I ran about 550, and then just like high 240, so 248, 249, and then like 5x30-second hills, which we run out the back on sort of like a dirt road, and then 8.5K double that evening, and then Sunday was just 20K around the lake in about 4:15s. So
Very good. How
it
many
was,
Ks for the week?
I think it was 131. Yeah, 131. So not bad.
So for you, like the biggest change between like just a generic week and when you're starting to get closer to races, it's mainly around that Saturday, isn't it? Because you're
Yeah,
always doing you're always generally doing a quality Tuesday session. You're doing some double threshold Thursday, maybe not quite as much volume when you're getting closer to a race, but then when you're in a sort of a base phase, you'll go out to Stromlo and do K reps, but then when you get closer to racing, you'll do something fairly high intensity on the Saturday.
yeah. So it'll be the same sort of system, as in I'll work like the VO2 stuff, but I'll make it a little bit more race specific by dropping sort of the distance, I suppose. So sometimes I might start off with a few K reps and then drop down to 600. So like, yeah, a few Ks, a few eights, a few sixes, a few fours, maybe something like that. And that would be a little bit closer to sort of like a 5K, progressing down to 3K race pace. But like even in season, I wouldn't say that I do that pace every week. Like I sort of have to almost alternate it between like sort of that sort of session and then something similar to what I did this week, because it's just like it's hard to do those like two hard sessions every week.
Mm.
And so like it's almost like I might do 2 hard sessions, another fairly solid Tuesday session, and then the next hard session would be like a week later on the following Tuesday. So yeah, that's generally how it's structured. But yeah.
Very good. All right, let's thank some patrons. Who you got, Moose?
Hey, sorry, I was just Cam. How often do you let people just jump in your group?
What do you mean, like run?
Yeah, like I imagine that every kid's trying to get in your group, go for a run. I am in Canberra, Cam, because like you're great with the social media and talking to people. Like it would sometimes give the illusion that you're accessible to people.
To an extent, we probably are. I mean, I think
He runs with me, Moose, so
yeah, but you don't give him a choice.
no. Honestly, like if someone messages me in Canberra to go for a run, more often than not, I would say yes if I'm available. I mean, I'm running twice a day, right? So like, it's a lot of runs that you got to do. So, yeah, I mean, sessions and stuff, obviously that's up to Dick. So, yeah, often if someone messages me and wants to like come to Canberra or something and do a bit of training, I'll just give them Dick's email address or something, and then it's up to sort of Dick, I suppose, to decide whether that would be something that works for them.
But you reckon someone like Hobbs or Josh Kerr or Cole Hockers to like, yeah, just message me, we'll go for a run if you're in my hometown? Not a chance.
Yeah, that's true, I suppose. I never thought of it like that. Oh, I don't know. Hobbs is pretty... I feel like Hobbs is like that. I mean, some of the other guys maybe not so, but I think it also depends. Like, if you're in a professional group, I think that's when it's a bit more... Yeah,
Close
they
by.
lose their touch with, like, I guess, community a bit more. But, yeah, if you're, like, running by yourself and you just have got a coach or whatever, I think that's when it becomes a little bit more community-orientated. Yeah.
All right. Who you got, Moose?
Green for me.
Yep.
Thomas Bellamy. His Strava bio says he's from Singapore and Bahrain. Well, which one is it, Croaks?
Well, I guess he spent time in both, probably.
No, but it says he's from.
Well,
Which
that's
one's
on his Strava bio. So
Okay.
it's like
So
your Strava bio now has Anglesey and Canberra.
Does it?
Well, it should.
I should put that, actually, although I've only run in Fish Week.
Jeez. You know what? Yeah.
I've just got to write Fish Week and Anglesey. You been out to Fish Week at night, Cam?
At night?
Yeah.
What's there to do at night?
Oh, plenty of things, mate.
He's only 19. Don't corrupt him, Moose.
Plenty of things out there at night. I'll take you one time. Thomas has run 16:48 at an RSR 5K race in Singapore, and it was 27 degrees, 83% humidity.
That's rough.
Croaks, you just looking after these patrons, putting the weather in for their races here.
Oh, come on. That's got to be worth a bit. 27 degrees and 83% humidity.
That's just a bit cooler than Doha, actually. That weather.
He had sunlight, though.
He ran 2:42 at the recent Seoul Marathon. Well, that's a good one, I reckon. That's the one Jess did that she ran pretty quick in that time, I reckon. He is Chief Transformation Officer, Swire Shipping and Director Swire Projects. Phew. That's a big title. And studied at the University of Cambridge.
Wow.
Master of Arts, Classics and Classical Languages, Literatures and Linguistics. Phew. Smart guy.
So maybe he was from the UK as well.
Well, you can go to Cambridge when you're from anywhere, actually. I think
that's true. Yep. Thanks, Thomas. Who you got, Cam?
Andrew Rose. He's from Melbourne, and his primary club is the Northside Collective. He ran 89 minutes at last year's Ballarat Half and 3:15 at 2024 Gold Coast Marathon. So, pretty solid. He's a business analyst for the ATO.
Ooh. Not one you want to be making enemies with, Croaks, not you.
No.
Not that coaching business that he does up there in Canberra.
I reckon I'm okay, though, seeing as though I gave Cam his shout out. I reckon you're pretty happy with that one. And I've got Campbell Maffett from Melbourne. Strava bio says he's a father, coach, lifetime runner, special ed primary school teacher, and Collingwood Classic event manager. Has PBs of 15:52 for 5K, 32:20 for 10, 72:13 for the half, and 2:32, which I think was at the 2006 Gold Coast Marathon. He's also competed in the Hawaii Ironman and has run New York and Berlin Marathon. So thank you, Campbell, Andrew, and Thomas for your support. Over on Patreon this week, we're going to have the countdown from number 10 down to 1 for the music, and Road to Somewhere. They'll be back. Race week for Ellie.
Yeah, and Nick.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Nick, mate. Don't forget about Nick.
Sorry, Nick. All right, before we ask Cam some more questions, I think we'll just go through the running news. So this week's running news segment is proudly brought to you by Precision Fuel and Hydration. We're going to kick off with the Fitness 5, an iconic 5K race down in Wollongong. It sort of was really popular back in like the 80s and 90s, and then it sort of went missing for 10, 15 years, and then it's come back. The course is all different now, and I think, Cam, you might be able to actually shed some light on what happened on this weekend, because your training partner, Jai Edwards, got the win in 14:35, but everybody's Strava was measuring like 5.2 to
Yeah, 5.2 to
5.3K.
5.3 looked about
Yeah,
right. I think potentially it was one of those incidents where the lead like sort of vehicle, I think maybe we took the wrong turn, I think, and then they went that way. I think that's what Jai said, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But I think that's what happened. But it wasn't
yeah,
like they ran so much further, but they ran what 14:35, and it's probably closer to like a 14-minute run.
yeah,
You'd
yeah.
just assume. So yeah,
And it sort of, stitches guys up like Jai, who obviously the shorter the race for him, the
yeah,
better, against guys like Sam Clifford, who
yeah, yeah.
finished second. So Sam was second, 14:37, and Luke Hintz, the local boy, was third in 14:44. In the women's, Jen Gregson was down for it. She got the win in 16:31. Izzy Thornton Bott second, 17:11, and Ainsley Van Graan was third in 17:20. And those Eloise Wellings was in this race as well. She's finished fourth in 17:30. So good to see her back running. Another bit of news for me. Remember how we were chatting a while ago, Moose, about athletes wanting to compete for Turkey?
We did have that convo.
Yes. So World Athletics has blocked athletes from switching allegiance to Turkey. They've said here that they've rejected several applications submitted as part of Turkey's government-backed recruitment drive, and ruled that all 11 athletes seeking to switch allegiance to Turkey will not be permitted to represent the country in international competition. The panel ruled that the applications were not independent individual requests, but instead were part of a coordinated government finance strategy to buy a national team. So this is definitely the right call here. Imagine like rocking up to the Olympics and you're competing against Turkey, and it's just a melting pot of it's like a IPL, Premier League cricket, where they've just bought everybody from around the world.
Yeah, that sucks. It's not on. I don't think and what kind of makes me suspicious if someone's willing to just give up their nationality like that? How's their values, and what else are they like? Not that, how's the integrity?
Yeah.
I always question someone changing allegiances for money, which is what this sounds like, because it sounds like it would do other things to win and gain money.
Could you compete for another country, Cam? Do you have any
I
other
wouldn't. I wouldn't
heritage?
personally.
You
My
wouldn't? No.
mom's from New Zealand, but yeah, I mean, I've like been brought up in New Zealand or anything, so it doesn't make any sense for me to run for another country. But I can. I mean, yeah, I could understand if someone's like dead broke and just all they want to do is be a runner or something, and maybe, yeah, that aspect can I guess drive people in. But yeah, it's definitely morally not the greatest thing.
But it was like, was it Bridget Cosgay? Was she the one, Moose?
It was one of the big ones. Yeah,
I think it was. I think it might have been her. It's like, surely she's not strapped for cash. Like, she would have won so much over the years.
But do you know what, Croaks? Do you know how much insurance costs on a Ferrari? A lot.
Want to. Yeah, definitely. Bridget Cosgay was one of them.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
else then there was another guy who won Olympic discus gold for Jamaica in 2024. So, yeah.
Moose, we'll go to a couple of your news stories before I go back to my last one.
Yep. European 10K road record. So Clara Lucan becomes the first ever European female athlete to break the 30-minute barrier for a road 10K. She triumphs at the 10K Villa de Laredo in Spain and smashes her PB of 30:26 from Castellón.
Yeah, so she ran 29:40. Let me just bring it up here.
Where's she from, sorry?
Is it Slovenia?
Slovenia, yeah.
I think. Yeah, she ran 29:49.
Wow. That's a good one.
You heard of her before, Cam?
No, I heard of the was it the Belgium lady that ran 30 something? She was the one that had previously had it, and then Battlecledi got within a second of it or 2 seconds of it, which is pretty crazy. Like Battlecledi is running, a second or two off, and then this girl's just destroying it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy.
What else you got, Moose?
Oh yeah, sorry, Jakob, your mate Cam, skipping the start of the Diamond League circuit as he continues to recover from an Achilles injury. His agent told the Norwegian newspaper VG. As a result, he will miss the Bislett Games, which is the Oslo Diamond League, on June 10 for the second consecutive year. Oh, these Achilles things. It's rare they come
I don't
good
know if
again.
it changes that much. In all honesty, I think it probably helps him, because I'd be a bit worried if he was rushing back post-surgery to run Bislett Games. And if that's what his intentions were, I think that shows maybe that he's rushing back and potentially high risk of re-injuring it.
Mm.
And it's
The earlier,
it's a nothing year really for somebody like him.
yeah, I think if he can aim to get back to run like open maybe at Bauman or do Euros, which is second week maybe of August, like if that's the main goal is to run at Europeans, then he has a lot of time to get there, I suppose, from like 6, 7 maybe weeks after Oslo. So
Yeah.
You watch his YouTube, Cam?
I haven't not really kept up with it, but I've watched a few of his videos. I like them. They're produced very well.
Yeah, what about those cars? What sort of car do you drive?
Well, I drive an Alpha. Yeah,
An
Alfa
Alpha.
Romeo.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a bit
Yeah.
out of the box. That's a niche one.
You don't bring up car insurance. Has your car insurance gone up since you crashed it, Cam?
Yeah, I mean it's not cheap. I'll tell you that. Yeah, yeah. And I rear-ended someone. It's like it can never be anyone else's fault. It was simply just like I actually think I was driving back from training and I just like wasn't zoned in enough. And then I like did a head check and the cars had like, to be fair, 2 cars had like crashed in front of me and I just was like paying the least amount of attention and I ran off the back of them. So
When was this, Cam? This wasn't.
this was 2024.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. And it was like a pain because I was going to World Juniors maybe like 2 or 3 days later. So it was just quite annoying timing wise, but yeah, it was 100% my fault. So yeah, can't get out of that one.
And last bit of news for me, I'm just going to throw in a few NCAA records. So Simeon Birnbaum from Oregon, he breaks the NCAA 1500 meter record, ran 331.69. I think his PB before this was like 337 or something.
I think he ran 337 in high school as well.
Yeah. So this is obviously like he was obviously quality. Like I've heard about him from when he was doing crazy stuff at high school, but he's sort of been a bit quiet maybe for the last year or two, and then he's come out and run this, paced by your mate Cam, Tom Palfrey.
Yeah. No, that was a good pace job, but very good run. I think they were through 1100 at 2:38, and he closed in 53. So
Yeah,
it's good running.
I saw on one of the must have been Let's Run or something. It's like, I can't wait to see this guy race Cam, and everyone's there like, oh please. Cam's like a step above. Cam's running 53 seconds for the last lap after having no pacemaker for 1100.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he looks like he's definitely probably someone. I would tip him to run 3:29 this year. And I also would tip Colin Salmon, the other NAU guy, to probably run 3:29. The hard part is it's just like, how do you really find the time to time trial races when you've got a whole race regionals and then whatever after that, NCAA champs, and then you also got US champs. So yeah.
And then just a couple of 5K records went down. Habtum Samuel ran 13:03 to break his own outdoor record by 2.5 seconds, and Jane Hendengren ran 14:50 to take 1 second off Parker Valby's record. So that's the running news. Thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration, chances are you're gearing up for a race yourself, but how dialed in is your race nutrition? Precision Fuel and Hydration makes it simple with a free online planner. Visit precisionhydration.com and get your numbers. Moose on the loose.
Wow, yeah, good timing. We got a Nike representative here tonight on the call. So over the last few days, social media has been flooded with the commentary around Nike's advertising campaign over there in Boston, when they had like a big banner that said, what did it say? Running runners welcome, walkers tolerated, or something like that.
Yeah, I think that rings a bell.
Was that it? Was that the wording?
Yeah, I think that was, yeah.
And the world has lost the plot at Nike, and it's been very funny to watch because the immediate thing that you see when you read it, you're like, oh, this is going to go one way only here, and the world is going to get very triggered by this, and they did. But like I heard or I saw this term that you guys may never have seen before, or maybe you're well aware of it, but it's called, the term is performative outrage. And I've never heard of
Yeah.
this before.
Well, I know what performative is. So, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm going to just read it out because it's ringing a lot of bells around this Nike commentary. So performative outrage is a public display of manufactured anger or moral indignation designed to signal virtue, gain social approval, or attract attention rather than to foster genuine change. Often fueled by social media, it prioritizes theatrical, short-lived, and trendy commentary over substantive long-term solutions or deep personal convictions. Because all I am seeing is people filming themselves in some sort of response to this video as if people care what like they think about an ad, and not influencers, or like all the influencers are doing it, but then you've got like the random individuals that are trying to get some clicks up or some likes. And I just find it like it's such a bizarre world we live in that someone can get so upset by an ad when like the obvious thing is like, this is gonna, like, the Nike marketing team, someone sat there and gone, oh, fuck it, do it, put it up. Like, we know what's going to happen, but fucking do it anyway. And the thing is, this is an Adidas race over there. Like, this is they have the rights to the Boston Marathon. They should be the ones flooding the city with advertising. They should run the expos, and everyone should be thinking Adidas. Like, the amount of money they're paying for this, I think it's maybe like $2 million or something along those lines to get a major marathon for these brands. And Nike's and all we're hearing about is Nike. Boston Marathon, Nike. So whoever's sitting there drawing up this plan has done a fantastic job to associate Nike with the Boston Marathon. Because really, like, the Boston Marathon, you can't walk the Boston Marathon to run it. Like, it's a qualifying event. Like, you have to qualify.
On all the majors, like, you've got to have a pretty like quick time now to get a start at the majors. Like, a relatively quick. You can't walk any of the majors, really.
Yeah, you can actually.
Shit.
Most of them you can, but not Boston. Yeah,
not Boston.
So Boston's the one really where it's like you there's no like lottery or anything. So I
guess that makes more sense for the advertising then.
Yeah, like it's obviously like walkers celebrate them. Like, any type of exercise is good. Like, people moving is what we want, and it like people move by shoes. So Nike kind of like surely understand that. They're not dumb enough to realize that.
But what percentage of people, because the only time that you don't want, like, this would backfire is if a major percentage of people were that upset that they're like, well, fuck Nike, I'm not going to buy their gear, not buy their stuff anymore. But what percentage of people are going to be offended by this? And look, walkers were still tolerated. So they didn't say walkers not welcome. It's like, we'll put up with you.
Yeah, just the amount of carry on over it. It's like, it's pretty, as if Nike didn't foresee this happening and still run the ad knowing like fully well this was going to happen as the result, and they're sitting back going, you know what? Nailed it. Everyone's talking about Nike. Even the people that are outraged at Nike, they're still creating content about Nike. And I reckon it's well played by those guys, even though they've pissed off a few people. But it'll be forgotten about by next week when the next thing to get angered about will come out, and we'll make a reel about that, and we'll do a response video to it. So everyone will like us again.
That was a good one, Moose. Listener question. This episode's listener question is proudly brought to you by Precision Fuel and Hydration. Now, I've got a couple here. And we'll start off with the first one. Do you guys supplement at all? So Nomeo, Pillar, etc. And that comes in from Ed Cox. So Cam, what are you having from a, I guess, supplement point of view on a daily basis and also like pre-race?
Pre-race, I take bicarb, obviously. I have actually been taking Nomeo. I was a bit on the fence about it. So I actually did like a bit of a trial myself, and it took me kind of a while to get to go either way. But I think it can't really be hurting anything. So I feel like it's more advantageous for the aerobic stuff. Not really like the 1500. I feel like it doesn't really make too much of a difference. But yeah, and
What
then
was the
obviously.
So what
Yeah.
was the test that you did that may have got you off the fence and going, yeah, there's something in this? Was
Well,
there a
I was just
particular
doing it
session or?
like a lot of the threshold stuff I did. I was like, it doesn't really like threshold's not an intensity where it's hard enough for me to really notice a difference. So then I started taking it to some of like my Saturday VO2 max sessions, and I felt like I was feeling better. So even if it's a placebo, maybe the feeling better could be helpful. So yeah, I take Nomeo as well. And
So
then
you're getting up at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. to take it? Like you're doing it 3 hours before?
well, yeah, but my races were not they're like
No, but when you're doing it when you're doing it with your Saturday Stromlo
yeah, when I
session.
was doing a Saturday session, I was like, well, I get up pretty early anyway, so
Okay.
yeah, it kind of works. And I try and do it from like 3 hours from the point that I start the rep. So
Yeah.
so
Not the
makes it a
warm
bit
up.
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then aside from that, I take beta alanine, which is supposed to help your buffering capacity as well, on a day-to-day basis. And the other one that I started taking was creatine as well, which can apparently have some improvements in, I guess, your max power output and maybe ATP. I don't like. I'm probably not the right person to ask about this stuff, but yeah, I feel like the people that have advocated for this stuff for me are smarter than I am. So
Yeah, creatine's one that I reckon there's a lot of evidence around. A
yeah, it doesn't
lot.
seem like it really has any negative effects. I mean, they say that you can obviously gain a little bit of water weight, but I haven't even really found that I gained any weight off taking it. But yeah, I feel like
It's
I've
a,
definitely gotten stronger in the gym, if that makes sense.
I was going to ask you about your gym routine. So, like, what is a
Oh yeah, I didn't include my
supplementation?
gym. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. But I gym on Wednesdays and Fridays. And they're probably like 70 to 80-minute sessions. And yeah, I feel like I've got a lot of like it's sort of like separated into two different categories. Like one's like more my hip power day. So I don't know, like trap bar jumps and stuff. And then there's a lot of plyos and stuff as well. And then another one's like more the calf power and that sort of system. Um, yeah. I'm probably I'm not that switched on with the whole gym stuff, but I feel like my gym coach is pretty switched on. So yeah, I trust what he does.
And was your gym coach, did he recommend that you do it on Wednesdays and Fridays? Because a lot of people now think about having gym on your hard session days. So then your
Yeah.
recovery days are your recovery days. Whereas now you would have Tuesday session, Wednesday gym, Thursday session, Friday gym, Saturday session.
Yeah. So initially, I was doing Tuesday. Well, Tuesday never really works because I do a Tuesday afternoon session.
Yep.
So Tuesday doesn't work, and I was doing Monday, and sometimes I'd do Monday mornings. And I think taking the fatigue into sometimes I do. Well, most of the time I'm doing speed on a Monday afternoon. Um, so I'd rather not do the gym and have a little bit of fatigue going into speed. So I feel like Wednesday works the best in that regard, because I don't do any speed on Wednesday, and then I've double threshold on Thursday, but like it's not that difficult. So I'm okay with being a little bit sore going into that. And then I do Friday as well, which means that some days I have pretty heavy legs going into a Saturday session. But for the vast majority of time, it doesn't really matter if I'm a little bit fatigued and I run a little bit slower. it's the effort's there.
Plus, you're young, you get away with it.
Yeah, yeah. But I think also the more consistent I am with it, the less it affects me, right? So like at the moment, I don't find that it knocks me around too much. But like stopped going to the gym for 3 weeks when I was overseas in America, and I found that coming back, it does take a lot more out of you.
Yeah. Supplements, Moose. You taking anything?
Ibuprofen. Does that count? What else have I taken? I take like a back spasm drug when I'm all these old people drugs.
I'm not sure supplements and drugs the same thing.
I am not training enough to need any type of supplements at all. Not at the moment, anyway. So no, the answer is no.
For me, it's been taking some vitamin C tablets just to stop myself from getting sick. Whether they help or not, I don't know, but I've been sick in a while. And I have taken Nomeo only before the races that I've done this year. So the 3K, the 5K, and the 10K. I do have a few more bottles of it now, so I was actually going to start using it on a few sessions as well.
What do you reckon about it?
Well, it's hard to tell. Well, the first time I took it was before the 3K, where I didn't run amazingly well, and I threw my guts up for the first time ever in my life after a race or training.
Wow. Yeah,
that was like 40 minutes after the race. The 5K actually felt really good, like the whole way. Maybe the last 200 I struggled, and then felt good doing that 10K road race. Like once the old body warmed up, the back end of it, I was just like, I'm running fairly quick, but I'm not feeling like I'm starting to tie up or fatigue at all. So yeah, it's hard, but I'll try and use it a bit more in sessions. So actually, we've got a few interviews coming up, don't we, Moose, with some Nomeo reps and Nomeo sponsored athletes.
A few big dogs. No one bigger than you, Cam, but a few big dogs. You're still our number one.
Just the other question, which this one came in ages ago, and I thought, while we've got you, Cam, I just want to get an elite runner's perspective on selection for major teams. So like we saw with the women's 1500 last week, Claudia got disqualified, then was back in. If she didn't get reinstated, Sarah Billings is like the national champ, probably has like potentially a spot at Com Games. So the question that came in ages ago was, does Australia need a June national champs, and should we have the first two qualify? So I guess the question's getting more at, do we need more of a system like the US? But it obviously doesn't work that well for Australians because most of our top athletes will be over in Europe that time of year. So you can't expect them to come back for national championships.
I thought about this a lot. I think the only way I could see it potentially working is if you hosted like a trial in a different place. Like I know Ethiopia sometimes hosts their 10K trials in Spain. And Kenya sometimes hosts their 10K trials at Pre, something like that. But I guess that comes down to, you've obviously not including a number of athletes because they're still going to be in Australia or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's hard to fly back to Australia mid-season. So I think the system that we've got going, it obviously has flaws, but I think it's up to the athletes to sort of design something around it so that you can be obviously good enough at the trials, but better again when it matters later in the year.
Because that's probably one of the criticisms in the past is, people winning national championships and being named in the national team for a championship that's happening in August, September. Like a lot can happen in that time. So there's been numerous cases where people have nailed nationals, and by the time they get to the major meet, they're running terribly. So we obviously don't want that situation, but then we want athletes like yourself who have now qualified. They don't need to chase races, chase times, because we've often seen that as well, that people haven't qualified at nationals. They've then raced themselves to a standstill to try and make the team, and then they get to the major championship and they're cooked because they've over-raced.
Yeah, that definitely happens a lot. I think, especially like, the 1500, it's going to be like interesting now because you've obviously Ollie's probably like locked in a spot, but like it means that guys like Jude and potentially Spencer have to race a lot more to sort of prove themselves. But it means that once you get to the actual major, yeah, you've probably got not much in the legs. So, and it almost seems like at that point, chasing the team is almost like the highest. That's the thing that you're sort of
goal.
like emotionally invested in is making the team. So when you get there, it's almost like feels like maybe the job's over. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And does AA like consult athletes about this, like what they would like the system to be?
yeah, I think it is just difficult. Like I don't think that there is like a better way to do it than potentially what we're doing at the moment. I think maybe, in my opinion, the only thing that they could possibly do is if they brought Maury Plant forward and then they brought nationals forward. But then the only flip side of that is that you're condensing the domestic season for the athletes that don't have a European season. So like I guess for the juniors and stuff, you're giving them a shorter period of time where they can race. So that disadvantages them. But for the athletes that potentially have to peak again, you're giving them a longer time where they can train and then like I guess build up again. And it aligns better with like a world indoors or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moose, before we sort of wrap it up, you got any more questions for Cam?
Just one that I'm kind of interested in because there's just, especially like around season time, like in season, how do you manage the logistics of all your travel and accommodation and all your races? Like, do you have a travel agent?
Well, no, I have JT, who's he's my agent, but not a travel agent. He does most of the travel for me, and like it's pretty like so when he even decide like yeah gets me into a race, we pretty much have like the travel. He books it then and there. So like yeah, I think he's probably got all the flights to my races already. And I think that's the yeah, it must be pretty stressful to be a manager. Honestly, they do a lot of stuff like that. If you're managing like he's only managing maybe 10 athletes, so he's got to worry about 10 people. But if you're managing 30 athletes and you got to do 30 different athletes travel and logistics and stuff,
Yeah,
that's a problem. But
yeah.
yeah,
And your sponsors.
yeah,
Who are you repping these days? Obviously
Coros
Nike,
and
Coros.
Nike.
Yeah,
Yep, yep,
two big
that's
ones.
it.
Just going big.
Yeah, I think you have to be 100% invested in the sponsor you're with as well. I think it has to be almost like a mutual thing. So I
No
think
physio cream.
no physio cream.
Cam, speaking of travel, what does the next few months look like for you?
I'm actually going to Flagstaff Sunday. I leave, and I'll be there for sort of like 4 or 5 weeks. And then I'm doing an 800 in Karlsruhe, Germany, on the 30th of May, and that'll sort of be like I guess, preparation race. I guess you could almost say it's like a last specific workout before Stockholm and Oslo. And I just find for me, I rather have a race than to do like a really hard workout. I think I get more out of that. So yeah, I like doing the shorter distance races, whether it's a K or an 800. And then I'll do Stockholm and Oslo, which are like 3 days apart or 4 days apart. And then I'm doing Paris Diamond League. They've got a pre-event 1500, which last year was the one that Hubs ran 327 at, even though it wasn't technically a Diamond League event. And then pre in Eugene in July. So that'll be good.
So when you leave on Sunday, you won't get home until
Could
when?
be a while. I mean, it potentially all the way until Ultimate Champs, which is in September. But like, that's yeah, it's hard to know because like I could get to Com Games, have everything go really, really well, and felt like maybe yeah, maybe I'm done there, or maybe you just keep racing on. I think I'd want to keep racing on, especially having something like a 5K to do after just keeps me motivated in a different way. So
Yeah.
I might do a 5K, a 3K maybe on the circuit somewhere. I think Silesia has a 3K. So yeah. Um,
You
yeah.
And
got
who are you going to Flagstaff with?
So I'm going with Jai, um, Angus Hinksman, who just ran the world record in the 1500 for his class, Michael Roger, and Thomas Cross, who's one of my housemates. So we've got a good group.
Yeah, nice.
Does that mean
Awesome.
Charlie's living by himself?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh boy.
yeah. That's head noise.
All right, Moose, what's coming up? There's a fair bit on. So we obviously Boston will be on like in 3 hours. We got Ballarat Marathon, which we actually got sent the elite fields today. So we'll quickly. Do you have these, Moose, or not?
Oh yeah, I do on my email.
Yeah, so we'll go through the women's marathon. I guess Ellie Pashley's probably the standout here. Domvay, Viljon, Breaker Carlefelt, Miriam Dowie. Then in the men's, we got Sam Blake, Jacob
Oh.
Cox,
Sam
Fraser
Blake's winning
Darcy.
the Mara.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Fraser Darcy, Tommy DeCanto, Reese Edwards, your boy Moose, Caden Shields.
Going to be a good race over there. You got probably that front pack could be pretty sharp, I reckon, with Sam, Jacob, Tommy, Reese, maybe Fraser, maybe. Yeah, it'd be a good watch.
What time do you reckon they'll win it in?
Yeah, have they got pacemakers, Moose, or it's just
no pacemakers,
pure racing?
Pure racing. But the half marathoners will provide some pacing. Like if they're, it depends what pack. Like let's say they go through in 66, then there's going to be a bunch of 66-minute half guys that they can sort of jump in with. That's the That's the beauty of Ballarat is like if the field kind of doubles for your first lap.
You reckon they'll get after it though, or you reckon they'll just watch each other?
Is it a national champs? No. Surely you just get after it then.
Yeah, I reckon they will. Like it depends on the weather. Ballarat is super dependent on weather. But if it's good weather, I don't see why they wouldn't. I know like Caden's not coming from New Zealand just to jog around.
Yep.
It's Sunday, right?
Yeah, Sunday. Yep.
It's supposed to be 18 degrees.
In Ballarat.
That's obviously a top of 18.
That's the top, yeah.
What's the wind? That's the
6 kilometers an hour, it says.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
So it's looking pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Women's half, Jen Gregson, Jenny Blundell, Sarah Klein, Danette Sheehan, Nicholas Sheridan, Eloise Wellings, Charlotte Wilson. And then in the men's half, Ryan Gregson.
You skipped over one there, massive one.
What? Where?
Simone. Jenny Blundell is running a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
You just
hasn't she run one before?
Oh, I can't remember seeing results for that.
I feel like she was running the 5s not that long ago.
Yeah, I reckon stepping up to the 5 was big. Now she's in the half.
In the men's, Ryan Gregson, Brett Robinson.
Wow.
Ooh.
That's a good get for Ballarat.
Yep.
Women's 10K, Sinead Diver, Catherine Dowie, Tara Palm, and then in the men's, we've got Luca De Conza, Andre Waring. I think Andre's probably the standout there.
Why do you think Sinead would pick the 10, given like her whole career has sort of been around like halves and fulls?
Depends how she's going.
Don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not ready to run a half, I feel like a half's pretty hard to run. It's hard to fake.
I reckon old people. Well, I don't.
Yeah, it's not gonna.
Nah,
it's not
but
gonna
like,
too well.
I'm thinking about myself here.
Brady.
Me and Croaks. It's kind of easier to back the pace off, go a bit longer. Like that's kind of what an older athlete is better at, rather than going after it, running faster and harder. Like physiologically, like I feel like that's
makes sense.
Closer to our
advantage. What do you think would satisfy her? Like what time do you think it would take? Because like if she runs, say, 2:26, would she be satisfied with it nowadays?
I'd say
so. If she runs 2:26, there'd be a good chance that she'd potentially win the race and pick up $9,000.
Oh, she'll win the race at 2:26 for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, like what? Yeah, even if she goes over and does a marathon overseas, like what time? Because she's realistically, like if you're a 2:21 runner, probably want to try and run pretty close to 2:21.
Well, she was 2:21 runner, like
she was 45 when she ran that, and she's like 49 now.
Yeah,
but she hasn't run too many marathons since, right? Like she ran.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two. I know she's run Sydney. And
which was like 2:35.
First
right?
Aussie, yeah. And then
Yeah.
she when did she run 2:29 somewhere, was it? 2:29?
Well, Tokyo.
Yeah, it was Tokyo.
Yeah, she ran Tokyo this year.
Yeah,
Broke 2:30, but I
Yeah.
think she wanted to obviously go faster.
I reckon it was 2:29 real high. So, yeah, it's hard to know. You just don't see anything from Sinead, so you don't get a real gauge, do you?
It is a tough one though, and like obviously she should be super competitive still, but like age at some point is going to catch up with you. And when you're going from like mid 40s to late 40s, closer to 50, like that 5 years in terms of what it does to your body is way different, say from 35 to 40. Like 35 and 40, there's probably not that much difference. But when you start getting close to 50, like 220 to run 221 again as like close to a 50-year-old would be absolutely like out of this world.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I guess we'll see. The mile races, Moose. These are the Australian road mile champs. So in the women's, got Georgia Griffith, Jayla Hancock Cameron. That's another mention. Izzy Thornton Bott, and then in the men's we have Adam Goddard, Jude Thomas. They're the ones that are highlighted here. So
I know Connor's racing.
Oh yeah, Connor Whiteley's here as well. Yep. And then the 5K. This was a good get as well. Jack Rayner.
Wow, that's not
down
bad.
to run the 5K. Yep.
I don't even see a 5K on here.
Pretty hard speed on the roads.
Yeah. So it must be good prize money, I'd imagine.
What, in the 5K?
Yeah.
I reckon one of the races there's like no prize money. And I thought it was the 5K.
Yeah, and then next Sunday we've got London Marathon. So it's on about sort of 6 p.m. our time generally. So Perez Jepchirchir, she's out of London. So she got a stressy after Valencia, and I think it sort of delayed her prep. So she's out. And Emil Caress as well has pulled out. He had
Really?
a calf.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying. I don't think he's actually injured at the moment based on the report. It was more that he had a calf issue a while ago and he's just not where he wants to be. So he's not doing it. So, all right, that's us. Cam, thank you so much for your time tonight.
No worries. Thanks
you're
for
an
having me.
absolute star, amazing ambassador for the sport. All the best for the European and international season.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see what you do over there.
Thank you.
Yeah, good on you,
Cheers.
Cam. Thanks for that. And if you
Thanks,
ever
guys.
if you ever need to get rid of croaks off your front lawn, just give us a call, and I got a good number there.
And Moose, I won't see you next week. You'll be in London.
Oh yeah, got to go watch the marathon.
Yeah, have fun over there.
Thank you.
But we'll be back next week with Brady's Boston recap, and hopefully somebody that's run really fast at either Boston or Ballarat. We'll try and get somebody on.
Yeah, sounds
All
good.
right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration for sponsoring this episode. Precision Fuel and Hydration is the answer to fuel your next marathon. Their free online planner helps you nail your sodium and carb intake so you don't fade when it matters most. Visit precisionhydration.com, and while you're there, place your first order and get 15% off when you use the code IRP2026.
Could've stayed hung up, could've been knocked down, but here I stand, a man whose roots he understands, and I'm gonna hold my head up high. I was taught as a young man, doesn't matter if you're white or black, just show love to everyone you meet, doesn't matter if